Okay. Good morning, everybody. Today I'm here going to talk about a new cutting-edge machine. The new generation of PicoSure is called PicoSure Pro. And I got the machine about 2 months ago, and we're very fortunate to be the first clinic in Australia to have that owner from Cynosure. Thank you guys to give me the opportunity. So I just want to share my experience with everyone about our treatment in the last 2 months. And our clinic got 4 PicoSures. And so because of that, in the last 6 years, we've done thousands of PicoSures on patient. And so we were really expecting this new one. So now let's go through some basics. And what is picosecond laser? I think a lot of people still naive on picosecond laser. And picosecond, put it very simple, is you put 1 second, you divide it by 1,000 billion. So it's a very small time unit. So it's 1,000 times shorter than nanosecond. So why it's so important? Because it's like you touch a very hot oven. So when you touch it and you move your finger away, you wouldn't get burned. So that's a probably normal analogy I talk to my patient. So what picosecond technology can do is it can give you a high density energy at a very short time and reach a high peak of power. So the principle of that is it called considerable density of the power in short time, then reduce the downtime, and it produce a shocking wave, and which will allow the pigmentation to be broken. And because of that, it can be eliminated naturally by the body. So that's what the picosecond laser is about. So if you do a comparison that PicoSure or PicoSure Pro, the pulse duration is only 750 picosecond. And if you're talking a Q switch, like the YAG, is 5,000, is 7 times higher, and some of the Alex is about 70 times longer. So the pulse duration is really shortened with the picosecond laser. So PicoSure, obviously the first one, then we have a few machines on the market, you know, we're all familiar with, then they all have a laser in that picosecond level. So what it does is you can use a reduced energy level to treat your patient, and you achieve a superior result and with reduced energy. So like we're talking about the fluency, which is the energy level, you on average only require half of it compared with a Q switch or nanosecond laser. And this is also enhanced by the advantage that PicoSure is using 750 nanometers in wavelengths. I'll show you on some slides next that why we use 755 more than others. So it do have the advantage because so there's we will talk about that a little bit later on. Then we're talking about the new features on the fluency in the PicoSure Pro. And if you're familiar with PicoSure, that you know the PicoSure have 3 fixed handpieces, which is 6 millimeter, 8 millimeter, and 10 millimeter. And with the PicoSure Pro, and we got 4 fixed handpieces, which are extra handpieces at 5 millimeter, which will give higher energy level. And what is exceptional about PicoSure Pro is PicoSure Pro actually give us an adjustable fluency level, which is very, very important because when you treat different patients, you want to move the energy level to different level. I give you an example, like if we treat patient with 8 millimeters, and in a PicoSure, and we got 0.4 fixed fluency or energy level, but in a PicoSure Pro, we can adjust that 0.4 to 0.55, or we can reduce it to 0.35, depends on which patient you treat. So by doing that, we actually achieved better result and also a quick treatment, because you can do a larger spot size with a fixed handpiece. And let's go through this again. I think some of the speakers already done some of this similar graph. If you look at this graph, and it shows at 755 nanometers that the absorption rate for different tissues. The top line is the pigmentation, and the bottom two are the sort of arteries. Okay, it's a hemoglobin, and with or without oxygen. And in that, because it's a log-rank graph, so you're looking at the 755, it's actually at the level of about 200. And if you look at the 1064, it's about 70. So on the graph, if you only look at it virtually, it probably only slightly different, but it actually shows that it's 3 times more efficient compared with the wavelength of 1064. So 755 is a very special wavelength, and it's a cutting-edge technology. I went to Boston about a couple years ago and talking to the chief scientist, and he told me that the 755 is very hard laser to fix, let alone to able to make it constantly. So this is why a lot of companies couldn't do the 755, because 1064 is easier mechanically for them or technologically for them to be stabilized. So they took them many years to able to figure out why 755 is more advanced. Another feature, obviously, for PicoSure and PicoSure Pro is their focus lenses. All right, they use these platinum focus lenses, which is not used by other laser machines. The advantage of these focus lenses is actually can enhance some point and make the delivery of the energy pinpointed rather than uniformed. What it does is it can let you to achieve a good result with lower energy level. The background energy level is actually reduced. So how it works, because it's probably the only laser able to create this phenomenon. It's called intraepidermal, I would call it a bubble, which was used by the chief scientist in Boston, because it can create this special area, which is you have a shock wave in that area, and it will move to the surrounding tissues. It's ideal injury. They even call it elegant injury. Intraepidermal, it spares the base membrane, which we know it's the roots of the skin, without damage that membrane, and it creates this ideal injury, send the right signal to the skin to rejuvenate. So it can create collagens and elastin reproduction. So they even have a name for it called LIOB. It's laser-induced optical breakdown. They use that. But after a few treatments, as you can say, the skin can rejuvenate and can eliminate the wrinkles, and through remodeling and through rejuvenation, through the reproduction of the collagens. All right, so this is why it creates all this, and then the right way to create the injury to facilitate the treatment. I think I like this slides very well. It shows, and 10 minutes past the treatment, you see this bubble in this epiderm level, and after 1 day, it's recollect some tissues in it and in the process of recovery. And also it shows some inflammation in the real derm, in the derm area. And another side of this slideshow, it shows this LIOB. It's made by a Feng microscope. It shows you it doesn't uniformly to damage the skin. It's pinpoint selectively give an elegant injury. I think that's, they call it elegant injury, which is very, very special. I was told by the chief scientist that's probably the only machine can do this, because that's what we want. Like microneedling, like a lot of laser machine, what we are creating is a minor injury. And we waking up body's rejuvenation, reproduction of the collagens. But you don't want to damage the skin, right? You want to give it a shake, let it wake up, rejuvenate, but you don't want to damage it. You don't want to create a scar. And this is the ideal way of treating it. So with the focus lenses, it can create this effect. And so that's why it's revolutionary. That's why it's quite safe to use. And for the flat lenses, which is not the focus lenses, it's good for pigmentation because it's called photomechanic, shaking up the pigmentation and make it sand-like, very small particles. Then with those small particles, the body can absorb those pigmentations, because if the pigmentation is too big, then the body couldn't absorb it. So that's why the flat handpiece is also useful. And there's some studies about 750 nanometer versus 1064. And it shows that if you use the same fluency, 755 have less reactions, less hemorrhage, less blood vessel damage. This is some of our patient photo, and obviously we don't want anyone to take photo of that. We only got the permission of the patient to use it in the conference. So as you can see, this lady has quite serious melasma. Only after one treatment, we're able to achieve considerable improvement on this lady. So that's one of our patients. That's another angle of those patients. And as you can see, the pigmentation on this lady is very, very severe. And only after one treatment, we can achieve that. With only the downtime is within 24 hours. So the downtime is really, really short compared with some traditional laser machine. And this is another patient of ours. That's after 2 treatments with the PicoSure Pro. That's another angle of this patient. That's one of our patients had PicoSure Pro treatment. That's only after 1 treatment. That's we're able to achieve this. As all of us can see, all those pigmentation lesions on the cheeks has made considerable improvement, and the patients are very happy about it. And this is our patient, and you can see the improvement is considerable and easily visible. And the key point of taking away is it's very safe to use, the PicoSure Pro. We've done thousands of cases of PicoSure in the last 6 years. And in the last 2 months, we did 50 cases about PicoSure Pro. And we don't have any side effect so far, right? touch wood and fingers crossed. So it's safe to use, and the satisfactory rate is very high. I would say no one is unhappy so far, so I can put it as 100% so far. So it's very, very good, and the result is obviously stunning. And also the machine is very easy to use. You know, we're operators, and compare even with the first generation, the hand pieces, the screen is terrific. Thank you.